Josh, can you assess Noah getting significant snaps?
Yeah, I think this is like kind of been the ongoing conversation all season. I think he's been working very hard, and we've been, I would say, detailing and stressing certain things in his game, and I think he's kind of risen to the challenge. And I said earlier I was very excited when he would get his opportunity, not knowing when that would be, but you always prepare guys like they're going to play. And I would say, he's been out there and he's been very competitive. He's been good at the line of scrimmage, and like all of our guys, we're striving for consistency, play in and play out.
Josh, would it be fair to say that on Sunday against the Vikings, the cornerbacks were pressing more than usual in terms of like press man coverage? Because I know earlier in the season, the one thing that X was talking about with a lot of the cover zero looks, or when you do your blitz zero looks, is that maybe sometimes he was playing more off usual, and then you kind of conceding, you naturally kind of give up some space there and some yardage there.
I wouldn't say that's accurate. I think I would say that's a false assumption. It depends on the calls. There's some calls that we have off. I wouldn't say we were pressing more last week than we have in weeks past. I would say there's certain calls that don't put us up at the line of scrimmage, and I would say that's been pretty consistent throughout. I would say, we do a variety of different things at the line of scrimmage, and I would say the amount of times that we're up there has probably been pretty consistent from game to game.
Josh, obviously you guys did not win last week, but did the defense put in a winning effort aside from the Justin Jefferson 47-yarder and the Dalvin 53-yarder?
No, because we didn't win. I think the things that we talked about earlier in that week, that there was different things that we were going to do to detail certain things that we needed to improve. I think our preparation, and we talked about our players being accountable, that they would come to work and that we would strive to improve. I think we've made some strides in certain areas, and I think there's other areas that we can continue to just make strides. And I would say that, we're always looking for consistency, and each week's going to be different from week to week. But I think there's some things that we saw some improvements on that we can build on and get better. You want to continually get better as you're moving forward. And I would say, at the end of the day, the most important thing is put yourself or the team in a position to win. And I think, there were times that defensively we were able to play complementary football, or at least give the opportunity for complementary football. And then there were other times that we probably needed to be a little bit better. And I think those are the things that we're striving to do. I think the process, the players, the coaches, I think we understand our targets. And I think, there's a lot of times the targets don't change, but if you're doing the same thing that you've been doing and you're getting the same results, then you need to change that. And I think there were some things that we detailed a little bit different a week ago that we saw a little bit of progress with that, hopefully we can build on moving forward.
Josh, the disparity in snaps between Melvin and Andrew Van Ginkel was the closest it had been all season on Sunday, 26-23. Was that entirely a game plan decision, or was it partly your conclusion that Andrew needs to play a little more and these two players are comparable in skill?
Yeah, I think it's a week-to-week thing. I think we're very comfortable with either player. So, whether Van Ginkel's on the field or Ingram's on the field or Jalen Phillips is on the field, it makes no difference to us. We're very confident in those guys. And then I think, just from a rep count, trying to keep guys fresh and stuff, we continually do that. And ultimately, we try to put those guys in positions that we feel that they'll succeed. And I would say it doesn't matter, really. Certain guys have, I would say, certain qualities that are a little bit better than the other, and we try to put those guys in those positions that highlight the things that they really do well. And sometimes that would be game plan oriented. Sometimes it is a rep count that we're trying to keep guys fresh. But I would say the overall picture of we're very comfortable with either one of those guys playing in the game.
Coach, what have you seen in a limited tape so far of Kenny Pickett for the Steelers?
Yeah, so Obviously, very athletic. I mean, he can drive the intermediate throws. He can get the ball down the field. He can definitely scramble to run or scramble to throw. He's making quick decisions for him. They do a pretty good job of putting him in plays where it's, he gets a quick read and he can make those decisions. I think he's been productive for him. And obviously, we're preparing for both guys, which we would anyway, regardless of situation or injury circumstance, and both of them will present a challenge to us for sure.
What kind of things can you detail to try to increase opportunities and interceptions?
So a couple things like just talking turnovers in general. Like one of the things is when you turn on the tape, are we making attempts at turnovers? Like are we punching at the ball or those things happening? Are we getting enough people to the ball? Because usually the more people you have to the ball, that's going to create a greater opportunity for turnovers. And those boxes are checking off. I would say there is, we've had our opportunities where we've been in position to catch the ball. We got to make those plays, and it's all hand in hand. So like for an example, if it's a 3-step, it's a quick game pass. If we get our hands up, you tip a ball, guys are running the ball, you have a greater opportunity to turn the ball over. One thing that we have to do, we had really 2 opportunities last week in the game. Sealer forced a fumble. We had an opportunity there, and again, the more people you get around the ball, the better your odds are to get it. Now, again, sometimes you can knock the ball out and it bounce right up to a guy like Alec Ingold from a year ago when we're playing the Raiders. We force a fumble, pops up. He's right there as a fullback. He catches it. There's not much opportunity there. The same thing goes back with the pass game. So whether you bat balls at the line of scrimmage, you defend balls on a pass, and you have other people running to the ball that have an opportunity for that tip ball, then that increases your odds, which those are things that we're working on. And then obviously when you're in good position, and you basically, as a DB or a coverage linebacker, become the receiver, your opportunity to go attack the ball, those are the things. And then the reality of it is you have to make the most of those opportunities when they arise because there's only going to be so many. And I think that what you look at is, are you setting yourself up for a chance to create them? And then are you making the most of them when you get those opportunities? So, and again, I think those are things that, we've looked at how we've detailed that, how we practice that. And, I would say we get good effort. We get guys running to the ball, and as long as we continue to do that, sooner or later, they'll come. And then when we have opportunities to catch the ball, we need to catch the ball.
Josh, what do you feel like are going to be the best ways for the players to reduce or limit penalties? When there's a reduction in penalties, what usually goes along with that?
Yeah, I think, you start with the obvious of we can't be in the neutral zone. We can't jump off sides. Hands to the face, defensive holding, illegal contact, the things that we can kind of control, our hand placement, our fundamentals and techniques. I think, when you kind of drill that down, a lot of those, kind of eliminate themselves. So
The first career full sack for Raekwon Davis, 34 games last week. I was wondering, obviously stopping the run is by far and away the number one responsibility for a player in his position. Do you look at pass rush from that position as gravy that's nice to have, or would you ideally like someone in that position who can generate consistent pass rush, Josh?
Well, in that situation, the sack came up. It was a passing situation for him, so he was in a straight rush. But whether it's Raekwon or any defensive lineman, when you're playing run and you're trying to, let's call it, it's not a gap charging scheme. You're playing run. You're trying to play square. You're trying to build a wall. But what you have to do is when you recognize that it is play action, you have to transition into a pass rush. And I think those are things that, we drill and we work very hard at. It puts you a little bit behind the 8 ball when you're playing run, okay? And then the harder the sell is of the play action, or the better the sell is with the offensive lineman, then the slower you're going to be on the transition. Now, if they're running play action and it's high hat right away, then your transition should be very quick. So, and then again, it matters what you're doing in the back end to marry the coverage with the front structure to allow those guys, time to get there. So again, it just depends. So sometimes, like when you're playing man coverage, okay, if you have good tight coverage, then you might have a little bit longer extra second to get there. If you're in a zone coverage that the quarterback reads pretty quickly and accurately, then time's going to minimize. And then again, if you're a pressure scheme, on the opposing side of the ball, they're going, let's get the ball out quick. Let's get the ball out quick. So that also minimizes, when those opportunities come. A lot of times you would say defensive linemen that are playing run technique that have opportunities on play action passes is when it's a deeper route concept where it's usually more guys in protection. There's usually 2 to 3 guys out in the route, but that puts more guys into protection. So, and again, a lot of those times when that occurs, there's usually about one-on-one situation that somebody has to transition right to get the pressure there. Does that kind of answer that?